Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. This is Friday, December 10th, 2021. The sun is in Sagittarius today. This time of year is a time of activity and optimism. We have a greater ability and desire to connect with the world outside our homes and our regular lives. I've heard this time of year is referred to as the season for giving, and that is appropriate considering Jupiter's leadership in this sign. Outgoing, generous, playful Sagittarius is exactly the spirit we want to be in as we enter the coldest and most night-dominant part of the year. The moon is in Pisces all day today. Moon in Pisces brings us into our emotions and creativity. We may seem indecisive when we're really just trying to go with the flow. Now is the time to explore the temple of the imagination. And the first quarter phase energy of this moon calls on us to put the plans we've been making into action. Using the compassion and creativity of a Pisces moon, it's time to communicate, delegate, and make arrangements. The full moon in Gemini is next Friday, so let's plan to have some goals met by that time, giving us good reason to celebrate. Okay, let's take a look at these planets and aspects before we get into any further interpretations. I have prepared a legend of the symbols we'll be looking at today so that we can start with an idea of some of the energies that are in play. As ever, at the top of our list, we have the sun. The sun relates to our outer life. That is who we are when we step out the door, the person that people get to know when they first meet us, and also how we engage in our work, social, and civic spheres. After that, we have the moon, and the moon relates to our inner life. This is more about our relationship with ourself, the emotions that we feel, our intuitions, what we know, and also how we engage in our domestic sphere, like who is there with us and where we live. Uranus represents change because it comes along and it asks us to do things differently. Neptune, you see I put Neptune down here. I had a Uranus and then it's really a Neptune, so I just drew it over there. Neptune is how we relate to the rest of humanity, to the human collective, or where we stand in the human spirit, or how we as humans connect to spirit. Saturn represents structures, especially those structures we take on the responsibility of maintaining for our own support and the support of those around us. Chiron represents healing. Mars is your personal sense of initiative, that fire under your butt, or whatever it is that drives you personally. Jupiter represents growth, expansion, positive vibrations, good fortune. Venus represents love and money, or how do you relate to those people and things that you hold most dear. Pluto represents extremes, as in the extreme ends of stories, like the beginnings and the ends, the death and rebirth, and also the high highs and the low lows of our emotions and intuitions and experiences. And Mercury represents the intellect, especially our day-to-day thoughts, words, communications, the plans that we make, and the traveling around that we do. As for aspect energies, we have a few different kind on the board today. We have Sextile. Sextile is a positive influence that that indicates cooperation of the energies involved and is likely to generate something good. Square represents the potential for challenges, and Conjunct amplifies the effects of both of the planets involved. Signs of mention on the page today are Sagittarius, Pisces, Capricorn, and Gemini. And with all of that said, I have divided our aspects into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner lives, and it sets the tone for our emotional experiences and our domestic relations. The moon moves very quickly, creating many brief aspects that represent ambient energies that may produce moods and other internal experiences for us throughout the course of the day. The sun sheds light on our outer lives, and I address the rest of the planetary aspects on this side because these aspects take longer and they have more of an impact on our actions and interactions out in the world. We start with the moon today. Central Standard Time, friends. At 5:22 a.m., the moon went sextile with Uranus. When the moon and Uranus make aspect, we get the urge to make changes, specifically in our hearts and homes. So this 2-hour aspect is a time to focus on those man in the mirror kind of changes, and our efforts to do things differently right now are likely to generate positive outcomes for us. Inner life changes generate good outcomes. And then later on this evening at about 9:50 p.m., the moon makes a conjunct with Neptune. When the moon and Neptune make aspect, we are more sensitive and intuitive, especially when it comes to the people around us. Conjunct amplifies this effect, so don't be surprised if you feel like you can actually hear what people are thinking or your ability to read faces and situations is somehow enhanced. However, sometimes this level of sensitivity can bring about confusion, like there's too much noise or information coming in. Guard your consciousness and seek to help only if you have the personal capacity to do so. This is a 2-hour aspect. Increased sensitivity. Help only if you can. And when I talk about personal capacity, I'm not just talking about like, well, I can pull over on the side of the road and help this person jumpstart their battery. But like, do I want to? Do I feel like this is a safe situation? Am I committed to being somewhere else at this time? You know, like really, what is your personal capacity to help the stranger on the side of the road? However frustrated you might realize that they are feeling. So today's lunar energy signature, today is a day of increased sensitivity overall. The changes we are working for internally or at home are likely to go well. Just remember that knowing how others feel doesn't mean you have to do anything for or about them, especially when it comes to those outside your domestic sphere. As for the sun side of the page, in the ongoing column, we have Saturn sextile Chiron, and this is the last time we'll put this on the page and talk about it. This has been a 2-week long aspect, so I have a feeling that we're going to be dealing with these themes of, you know, what we have healed and how and what we've learned and how we apply it, maybe, you know, for a little while. So, you know, check your natal Chiron placement if you haven't already. If it's not in your regular chart, go find it, use a search bar and look for a natal Chiron placement for yourself. And the reason you want to know your natal Chiron placement is because that tells you what it is you're working on healing in this life. And when you know what you're healing, then you'll know what wisdom you have gained. You'll know what you've already learned about what you're trying to heal. And knowing what you've learned has power because then you can apply that wisdom to your networks, your relationships, your domestic sphere, your social sphere, your work sphere, the people there that support you, that come together to support us in different ways. We apply that wisdom to those networks, and that not only strengthens our ability to be supported and to reach bigger goals, but it strengthens the ability of everybody around us to be supported and to reach bigger goals. Today is day 4 of 4 for Mars square Jupiter. This aspect has indicated a surge of good fortune in our ability to meet our goals and desires. This is a good aspect for creating your strategies in your plot to rule the world, so get on it. And as for today, on the sun side of the page, we have Sun square Moon at 7:35 p.m. This aspect indicates the precise midpoint between new moon and full, where if we see the moon, it will appear as a circle of light split right down the middle. Symbolically, the outer life is in a challenging position with the inner life, so we may face some difficulty getting our ambitions and goals to jibe with our emotions or our domestic situation. This aspect lasts about 1 day. Outer, inner challenges. And I'm just going to say something I've said before, which is, square does represent the potential for challenge. It's not quite as difficult a challenge as, say, an opposition, which represents conflict. It's really just the kind of challenge where, you got to stop at the stop sign and look all ways and make sure it's safe to move forward. So notice that there's a challenge, take a deep breath, figure out how you're going to deal with it, and just move on with your day, okay? Now, tomorrow is a very active day for aspects, and I just want to give you a heads up that Venus tomorrow is fixing to make conjunct with Pluto. This will be a 4-day aspect that seeks to show us which of our habits is working in relationship to those people and things that we value the most, and which of our habits is not working in those relationships. This is likely to occur to us as an intensification or a feeling of pressure in those relationships that will bring out all of our best and possibly worst love-related behaviors. Next week is also a more active week. Mars is going to enter Sagittarius on Monday, and Mercury is going to enter Capricorn the same day. We'll have a full moon in Gemini next Saturday, and Venus is stationing to go retrograde on next Sunday, the same day that Chiron will go direct. So there's some transition going on here, friends. And we will talk about these things and more as they come up. That is it for today, friends. This has been your Daily Aspects and Astrological Weather Forecast for Friday, December 10, 2021. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, please like my video and subscribe to the Old Girl channel. I will leave this up here for about 30 seconds so that you may have time to peruse it. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. My name is Melanie Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Daily Aspects.